The historical context of the coast region in terms of economic and social inequalities that exist within the coast region. How the coast region actually shares its resources to achieve the equitable society that we want to achieve. And then we have the inequalities. Inequality in terms of poverty, in terms of people not accessing basic amenities like water, in terms of access to health care is a challenge at the coast region.
You cannot talk about equity without talking about poverty. You cannot talk about poverty without talking about or without invoking marginalization, exclusion, deprivation. Poverty is a reflection of the balance of social forces in society and the balance of power relations. If we don't understand it that way, then we will not deal with poverty. So until we deal with the power relations in our society, until we get a better balance of social forces in our society in favor of more equity, we will not be able to deal with this animal called marginalization or poverty.
Marginalization, as you said, is about lack of access to basic services. That's simple. Basic services: water, health, electricity, and roads, as defined in our Constitution. But poverty is something else. Poverty is about the affordability. Ile income uko nayo, are you in a position to get some income, pesa ya kutumia? Sindio? Because you can have all these basic services, but still you can't afford. Sindio? Hauna kazi, hauna income, maneno kaya. That means you are poor. But overall, you've seen the three categories of our work, what we do in terms of fighting poverty and promoting equity. One, we try to push more funds to devolved structures, that's counties. Then two, through the formula, we allocate funds based on poverty, development gap, that is the index we talked about, and land area.
The revenue shared through the poverty parameter is more than that which is available for the equalization fund. The amounts of funds that have been allocated to the counties at the coast, 48 billion over the period of devolution, 48 billion for Kilifi, going down to 14 billion for Lamu. And the amount of this amount, the proportion that has been allocated on the basis of the poverty parameter.
The challenges that affect the inequalities. What is it that is making us as coast people not achieve the equitable society that we want to achieve? The first one is about prioritization of the projects. Another challenge is about proper mechanism on addressing budgets, because especially on monitoring and evaluation, that is something to think about. What is our role when it comes to ensuring that these resources are actually maximally utilized for the proper benefit of the citizens? Another challenge to realization of equitable society is the low absorption rate. So low absorption rate by the department also is a challenge towards realizing equitable society and towards ending inequalities within the counties. How do we go about addressing all these challenges that are there, that are making us as coast region, that are making us as counties within the coast region not really achieve an equitable society?
Poverty is spread all over KWALE County, but what the county has actually done is to embrace public participation in coming up of projects. The issues that actually contribute to poverty, that are thought to be contributing to poverty, like education. We have a specific program for education as a county, the bursary and scholarship program. That one is spread all over the counties. The allocation currently stands at around 400 million, because we felt that one of the issues that is making KWALE people not probably compete equally to the people of this country was their level of education.
as much as we appreciate the interventions the county government has made towards enhancing access to education from the ECD up to the university level, I would suggest that we need to start thinking about equity as opposed to equality in terms of provision of bursaries and the scholarship, the Elimu ni Sasa initiative.
Taita Taveta has got like 2 ecological zones, the hilly areas which are very productive in terms of crops, and the lower areas which are semi-arid and therefore they are dry. Water is one of the biggest problems in Taita Taveta, especially the lower areas. One, as county government, we have been giving quite a big share of our budgets to water infrastructure so that it can be improved. The other area is issue of education. We also give scholarships and also bursaries. The other area which I think we have done a lot is health. We are raising Moi Referral Hospital in Voi to be a better hospital. We just installed the other day a CT scan. We've got renal machines for dialysis. And we are treating people of 65 years of age and above for free.
Lamu is very rich. Rich in heritage and rich in potential. And this wealth is concentrated in about one place. The Lamu all of you know. The Lamu which you come and see very impressive and big buildings. And that's where the problems start. Now, where does our poverty come from? For the islands, there is a very big problem of access. These islands are not near to each other. And when CRA comes to Lamu, they don't consider sea travel as part of a distance to reach those people in those islands. So, the archipelagos were suffering from access. The mainland, today because there is some advancement in the media, people know that there is some insecurity in Lamu. But some parts of the mainland of Lamu have suffered insecurity since independence. Since independence, the shifter manners, if you have heard of it, and then bandits. So these areas have been marginalized because of those 2 big problems. Islands, most of them have no water at all. They just get water during the rainy season, they store it, and before 2 months elapse, the water is gone, and then that's a problem. Electricity, until very recently, electricity was just within the Lamu Island where you come and visit, where you see a lot of big houses, health and roads. What are we doing? For water, we are now trying to send tapped water to each household in Lamu East. We are starting with Lamu East, where the problem is the biggest and the work needed to solve the problem is small. For health, we are introducing the NHIF scheme. We are incorporating 2,000 families or households into the NHIF schemes, where we will be paying about 6,000 per family per year. And on education, we are slowly increasing the number or the amount of bursary. Last financial year, we had allocated 60 million. This financial year, we have gone to 100, and we hope to go to 150 the next financial year.
Problems we are facing in Kisumu County is that Kisumu is a city and a county that has farmers at the same time. The poverty that comes in Kisumu is basically about disorder. And as the population grows, the land becomes smaller, And so everybody wants to become a farmer with 2 acres, 1 acre, half an acre, like that. Another thing is security, because it is a city. Security becomes a problem and it makes people fear to invest.
Oh, you said about the input of education. Let's just guess that we have 200 people with degrees from India. Now they are here and they are sitting idle. And we are in the 6th year. There is no factory of which you could think like a mango processing factory and whatever, so that you could absorb these people to those industries. Equity will not come if you are going to mistreat mothers and the youth who are in informal business. It is your mandate to put up a very big market. It's your mandate. And you have to do that instead of kuangaisha our wamama. Asante.
During the CRA presentation, I'm happy that they have introduced education as one of the unit of analysis as far as marginalization is concerned. So in the counties, there's usually the bursary fund. So I would like to know what is the criteria that is used to identify the poor and the needy.
On the land issues, we have a lot of injustice, especially in Iwitu Tana settlement scheme, whereby 80% of the women are affected. They are unable even to follow up, and they are well up informed that they can follow up.
One, I think we all agree that Diani is the global map as the world city, or the city, especially Ukunda is the city. And as we talk about equitable distribution of resources, I think one, we should also consider health. And health, we should also consider sanitation. It's a shame, and a global shame, if you look at Ukunda being the city, or the Diani being the tourist destination. You walk through Ukunda to the beach, you walk through Ukunda along that road to Mobungo, there's no single public toilet. Concern 2, as we talk about distribution of resources, I just wanted to put a question to the country representative. We all know that we have natural resources around, and I'll specifically speak about the base titanium. And we know we have the issue of royalties, monies which are supposed to come back to the county government of KWALE. I just wanted to ask the representative, is there policy at the county government to ensure equitable distribution of the royalties?
Now, I want to specifically again touch on the issue of base titanium, because it is a thorn in the flesh right now as we are talking here. My question is, we are fully aware of what the Constitution has spelled on the same issue, that whatever is being taken from the base titanium, 70% goes to the national government, 20% goes to the county government, 10% is supposed to be taken or enjoyed by the people around. That is not per me, Matata. It is as per the Kenyan Constitution. My question is, when shall be the 10% be seen by the KWALE citizen or the KWALE people?
What we have done in the case of Taita Taveta is every ward has got a bursary committee, and those committees involves the locals, the local administration, Nyumba Kumi elders, who really, and also the administration, the assistant chief, to ensure that there is fair selection, both the new Mining Act and also even the Wildlife Act. You know, Savo West and Savo East takes about 62% of the land. And this question we have been postering it to with the national government. The truth of the matter is royalties have not started to be paid to the counties. And what we are doing right now, we are preparing a petition to ensure that it has gone to the Senate and the National Assembly and also to the head of state?
Education. Yes, we are educating our citizens, our students, because we found out that our levels of education were very low and we could not compete with all other Kenyans. But these students are taken to the universities and we're sponsoring. We are actually sponsoring for the larger market in KWALE. What we've basically been doing, even for those who went to India, when they came back, we knew that they got the class part of it, but they needed industrial attachment. And we've encouraged them, all those who wanted to be attached to the counties, we've been giving them priority so that they can be attached and get the practical skills that will be very helpful for them to look for opportunities in the market. On issues of harassment, I want to state clearly here that it is not the policy of the county government to harass whether they are traders or citizens. So in case such unfortunate events occur, kindly encourage them to come and report to the county.
Poverty as a parameter for revenue allocation, as we've seen, and as you've just told us that there are areas that you've noted that are marginalized because of maybe they are arid or semi-arid or they are poor. So looking at poverty as that parameter for revenue allocation, how much have you allocated in those areas, and on what? We've seen counties doing public participation as a formality, as a rubber stamp, so that they are seen to have done public participation. So do these marginalized or the poor areas, do the people understand what they are supposed to like propose, or you just come with your document that has projects and you say this is what will be done, and then you expect people to just give their views? And then when we are allocating our finances, for example, at the county level, are we using the formula for revenue allocation that CRA gives out, or we just allocate from nowhere? Now, there are areas ambao kumekuwa na mashifta, banditry and all that. How do you consider them in your planning? Because we don't want the areas to still remain behind. How also do you partner with the national government in ensuring the equalization fund reaches those areas to address some of the issues, like for example, constructing bridges and other amenities that these areas actually would benefit?
I'd like to commend all of you for the work that you're doing, specifically Taita Taveta County, on the issues of elderly and persons with disabilities. I wanted to know, probably in numbers, how many households are we targeting on issues of health, NHIF specifically? And for everybody else, the other counties, what are you doing on the same issues of special interest groups, specifically persons with disabilities, elderly, minorities and marginalized, and children, for instance?
I want to appreciate that land injustices is what the Swahili call kidonda sugu. Ni kidonda sugu everywhere, lakini the fact that we have allocated money in this budget to offer title deeds is a step towards solving those injustices. On the part of what are we planning for those areas that I said are marginalized, Lamu town and maybe Mpeketoni urban area, those are the two places that people see, but it's just a very small part of Lamu. And most of our budgetary allocations have gone to those sites.
The issue of how do we make budgets, especially to areas like those ones which are where poverty is really an issue. First and foremost, in the budget making process, you know all budgets come from the CIDP, which is a very important document because there's a lot of public participation before coming up with a CIDP document. And therefore the budgets come from the people. 30% of affirmative action, I want to say in Taita Taveta, we are more than 35, almost 40%. And actually the PPRA applauded us for that. They came, they did an audit, and they found that we are above the threshold of 30% affirmative action. And then regarding the breakdown towards health issues, the elderly are about 17,000. People with disabilities, I don't have the figure, but I'm sure if you can give me time, I can ask the social services, they can give me the figures. They have the figures.
We are doing public participation because we believe in people-driven development. We are not doing public participation just to meet some conditionalities for the budget. What has been a challenge in most of the counties and probably even the central government has been the 20% local, local content, or where you also need to consider the locals so that money can circulate within the locals.
In Kisumu County, we have a bill in the assembly to come up with a law for running the village council policy so that it is anchored in law. So these are the people who are going to decide on what kind of development and what kind of bursary and what kind of implementations and which priority is given to where. So it is not only said that when this governor comes in, he decides or she decides what to do. This is going to be anchored in law, and so people with disability will say no or yes if they do not accept or when they accept a project or a program from the government.
We cannot address inequalities without dealing the question, with the question of public participation. So counties have a responsibility to guide us on this particular conversation. Where exactly do we meet with the public on this? What's the role of counties in helping us address intra-ward inequalities in the county? Because CRA will do its part. We'll have the marginalization policy, through the equalization fund, for example, and national government will do its part. What's the role of counties in helping us with the resources we are getting, both conditional grants and and equitable share? What's the role of the counties in helping us as a country address those intra-county inequalities?